anytime that's eyes. So come on, gather round. We got this video for you.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Tyler, and we have
Steven.
I'm Chase.
I'm Mike.
And welcome to the first podcast of 2022. Way to go, do that, fucking Mike. I'm gonna call you out. But
You
welcome.
just added 5 minutes to my editing time.
We're leaving this in. No. Welcome.
Crack it open.
Yeah, so welcome. This is the first episode of 2020 Tracts Manor, and this is going to be...
This has been a long-awaited video for me.
It has been. We're going to be talking about Zelda today. So first things first...
This is a whole new experience for me.
Yes, me and Steven are basically the resident Zelda experts. Ty does know his fair share, but I wanted someone who didn't know much of anything about Zelda at all.
He's a newbie.
No.
So I have a little whiteboard here with things written on it. So let's go ahead and go balls deep with the theories. So Mike, I know you want to talk about the Zelda religion theory.
Okay, so there's this theory I kept seeing pop up online. Everyone knows, anyone who's in the know that knows Zelda knows that the creator of Zelda, everything's about him. He is Link, and all the games are basically about his adventures. It was always about him having an adventure, having a wild imagination, and just having a grand old time. Wonderful, wonderful story. But there's a rumor going around that the Triforce, wisdom, power, courage, is an allegory for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit for Catholicism. And considering where I'm pretty sure he's Buddhist, is he not?
I don't know, but being from Japan, I definitely don't see it being an allegory for Christianity.
But they made some good points.
Well, it's some
with it.
kind of paganism because they do have they have multiple gods. You got Zephos, you got Jabu Jabu, you've got Hylia, you've got the three goddesses.
There are so many godlike
Jabba Jabba
creatures
Batman.
in
It'd be
Zelda.
some kind of maybe like
That is an amazing name.
Hindu Shinto, something in that kind of category.
Well, I went Buddhism as a broad spectrum kind of.
Because, well, I mean, if you think about it, like, we have the three major gods of the Triforce, right? And you can kind of link that to the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. But what I don't get in the whole Zelda religion is what came first. Because coming from, my first game being Ocarina of Time, I always thought that the first things first were the Triforce, because they created everything, right? But then you get into,
Well, according to the game, according to the lore, the Triforce wasn't even created until after the world was created, before any of the nations were made. It was Din first, who, with her flaming arms, created the Earth.
Yeah.
And then it came Nehru, who gave intelligence, wisdom to everything, and then Faror breathed life.
Yeah, and so it's that's creation, but for some reason, lately I've been thinking that the goddess is the de facto religion there, versus the trilogy.
So you're referring to Hylia, and then the three goddesses were basically her angels, or basically what you're trying to get at.
Yeah.
That's more or less what the lore actually tells you they are. They were just perceived as goddesses in the original games because they didn't really. It wasn't a mistranslation or something like that.
I've not heard of this.
Yeah.
But everyone knows that Hylia is above the three goddesses. She basically created the three goddesses, and the three goddesses created the world.
I figured it was the other way around. She was like a demigod, more like Hylia.
See, but for some reason, Skyward Sword kind of... I need to go back and replay it, but
Yeah,
for
it's
some
been a hot
reason,
minute.
playing Skyward Sword, I got the thought in my head that, the de facto leader was the goddess. And even in Breath of the Wild, it hardly talks about the Triforce, and more about just the goddess, the old goddess.
I think that's just kind of something that Nintendo has been moving more toward, is they've been introducing Hylia more and more into the lore, because Skyward Sword, Hylia,
Zelda
that
is
was a
her
big thing. That was a
reincarnation.
really big introduction, and I think they've just kind of been rolling with that. And Breath of the Wild was very Hylia, and over time, I think Hyrule would probably just move away from the legend of the three goddesses. Like, they just completely forget about it. Whereas, you know, they built these big statues to Hylia and shit. It's what they do remember.
Yeah. Because that's a really cool thing I like about Breath of the Wild. It's so far in the future that everything from any past Zelda game is just carried on by wise tales, and just like even written text at this point would be probably not like it's non-existent. So
it's just passed so much time that they don't even remember how shit started.
Yeah.
And Hylia, you know, she just
Hylia's...
keeps popping herself in. Yeah, no, she has a reincarnation every, you know.
Yeah.
Well, Zelda is the reincarnation
Exactly. So, like, she's been around. She can keep propagating the legend.
Yeah, and they could just completely unwrite.
Whereas the goddesses, they were just like, peace.
Well, I mean, this totally could have been an Elizabeth Meliodas sitch where Hylia was being reincarnated over and over again, but then she lost her memory the way Elizabeth did, thanks to the Demon King and the Goddess Queen's curses. You know what I'm talking about? So, I mean, even if she's reincarnated as Zelda every time, doesn't necessarily mean that Zelda knows what's going on.
Well, yeah, because it's not like it's the will of them getting transferred from person to person. The way I see it, it's the will and not like necessarily their memories, but it's like it's the will of the holder.
Yeah, like the monarchy of the Hyrulean family. Like, whoever has the Zelda, they're the king.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a good way.
How do
And
you
it's
prove
just
she's the
kept
Zelda?
going like that. You know, that's just been their thing. It's like their tradition. It's like Zelda,
Zelda will always be the
and then
princess.
her dad's the king.
Yeah. Zelda will always be the princess.
And, you know,
because
the king,
princess
most
was-
important dude in the fucking country. Of course, you know, he's
never
gonna
fucking
he's
see
gonna
him.
live on.
He's always gonna die.
So there's always going to be a
Always.
reincarnation of Hylia, and they're still going to have that legend to pass on. So it's more like the goddesses just kind of fucking didn't give a shit about having a legacy at all.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure
Hylia did.
in Breath of the Wild, there's no talks at all about the Triforces. Like,
No.
They don't even bring up about
not
them
really
having
even a
Triforce.
mention. Maybe in like a weapon description or something, but nothing. The
'Cause-
only thing is, you know, when the back of their hand shines. at
Okay,
the
so
end
that
of
was
the
still
game.
in there. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's been a while since I played Breath.
And like when Zelda seals way again, and like there's a big Triforce there.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing
I
otherwise.
mean, the only time you actually see anything to do with any of the characters interacting with a physical Triforce was Ocarina of Time, was it not? When Ganon physically entered the Sacred Realm and took the Triforce and was left only with the Triforce of Power because it split on its own, and then Wisdom went to Zelda and Courage went to Link. Maybe it just maybe that helps with the reincarnation. It just helps keep them together. Their incarnation now constantly has
also good.
that power because you constantly see it pop up, but they never touch the Triforce ever again
Wind
in
Waker.
any other
Once.
version.
Wind Waker.
Once. Wind Waker, yeah.
Okay, to be fair, I have not played Wind Waker all the way through. I was not the biggest fan of Wind Waker.
Bastard.
That's like
I don't know much about it, but I played through that game and it was
Like, the
awesome.
king literally touches it and just says, I want to plunge this place even further into darkness. Let's do it.
He's like, fuck Hyrule.
Yeah.
Go find a new one. Go start a new Hyrule. With
Yeah, and they literally did.
Hookers
They
and
scaled
cocaine.
the oceans and started a new one. And they went from oceans to trains.
New
planes, and
Hyrule.
automobiles.
It's quite charming. Like you should play it.
Honestly, it was the cartoony textures for me that really got me to not play it. It was
know,
also
and that was
I
the
didn't have
thing-
the money at the time to actually go buy this game and go play it. I had the collector's edition disc, so I had the 20-minute demo, and it just never struck me as something that I would really get into for a Zelda game. But I also had the original Legend of Zelda, Legend of Zelda 2, Majora's Mask, and Ocarina of Time to constantly fucking play, which I did.
How do you feel about the what's the most recent, the Link's Awakening? How do you feel about those kind of graphics?
Honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of it either, so I honestly haven't even touched that one. I will probably get to it eventually here soon, especially before Breath of the Wild 2 releases, which I do need to play again through Breath of the Wild 1 just so I'm caught up on everything.
Yeah. But I honestly kind of see the magic of the goddesses kind of turning into like a force type of thing with Star Wars. Because like it used to be in like old Legacy, you had like the Wills and they were the religious, and now you just know about the Force, and no one's like, who the fuck's the Wills?
So, fun fact, there is something called the Force.
The Triforce.
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I think it's actually called Golden Force, but it's something they introduced in Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, where it's like, yeah, basically that, because it's akin to like the Gratitude Crystals in Skyward Sword,
Okay.
All right.
where it's just a force that just permeates everything, and every now and then it condenses, and you can see it, touch it, have it, spend it.
Okay, that's
It
kind of
gives you
like
time on a
that's
clock.
kind of like the spirits in the different provinces in Twilight Princess, no? Because they were golden spirits that took over a certain power within a certain region.
No, I think those were like demigods
Yeah,
that
they were
Hylia
like
made.
the dimest of gods.
I just meant like a general showing of that type of golden forest, more or less. Like they have the
Yeah.
influence they have over the land.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because when the spirits were taken down, darkness reigned over. But while they were there and when they were restored, light took over. They had a
Yeah.
physical presence in the world, even without being seen. Much like what you're talking about for this golden forest, which is something I haven't even really heard of.
Yeah,
It's-
it was only to those.
Yeah, it was only those
Those
two
sorts of
games that
games.
it was really mentioned, but it's an interesting little factoid.
I think we have to go back to those.
And that's
So
the
then
So do
good.
all of these games, all up to this point, are all of them canon story relevant?
Except for Link's crossbow training.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that a VR thing, or? Is...
No, that
it
was
was-
actually a
No,
Wii
it was a
thing.
Wii game.
Yeah.
Oh my
It
goodness.
came out a
It,
couple
it
months
had a
after Twilight
dongle and
Princess.
everything, a little
Really?
crossbow that you.
Okay.
Yeah, you
That's
actually
kinda
killed
neat.
some of the Twilight
like
Princess bosses that way,
Yeah.
especially the
Stealth
Stalfos Dragon, which is that was like one of the best bosses in Twilight Princess, hands down.
I kind of hated it because I hate the gear.
The Stealthos
Really?
Dragon.
The gear.
Was
It's
that,
so useless.
was that the spinning top?
Yes.
boss?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
It's one of my favorite
I mean,
bosses.
it's
'Cause
cool.
It kind of
Good
reminded me of an
boss.
arcade game in a way, jumping
Totally.
between the
Yeah.
walls. Like I loved it.
Yeah.
So basically, Chase, it was this in this dungeon. You got like this spinning top gear that you rode on, and then it'd click into like gears and it'd take you to places. And the boss was basically this giant like Shia the Colossus style Stalfos dragon, right?
Okay.
Totally dope boss. But the
Right.
only way to beat it was you like to
Called
hit
Stallo.
on the outside of the. You had to hit on the outside of the wall.
Yeah.
And then gear all the way up, and then just bounce between the gears until you ride all the way up to like its head, and then just start killing it.
I'm actually pulling up a video to show him.
Yes, definitely. It was cool, poorly implemented, but I like
So
the
that
boss.
was the main
It took me a
tool
while even
for the
just to
game
figure it out.
for this
Like, it's
particular
kinda-
Wait,
dungeon.
can you use that spinning top like anywhere you go after you
Yeah.
get it?
Yeah.
Oh
but
man,
it's,
that'd be
it's
hilariously
useless
fun.
on anything
Well, I
other than
kept
very
screaming out
specific rails
Beyblade
that
every
put
time
on
I did it.
some walls.
Because
Oh, doesn't that like
Beyblade!
spin on the ground or
It
anything?
does,
It
but
does,
it'll
but
take you
it's-
like 5 feet forward.
I mean, it's not
Oh.
like you do have to hop on and off
Yeah.
it, but if you there are certain areas outside of this temple where there's gears and it helps you get
All I'm saying is if you
hidden
could just,
rupees and stuff.
If it just spun at a good sporadic rate, and then you could just stick your sword out and just like do that,
Ah.
it'd be hilarious. You know, like,
That would be
Is
awesome.
that not a thing you can do?
like
Beyblade, let it rip.
yeah,
You can
yeah.
actually do a spin attack while you're on it, which was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to continue that though. I like
So, but yeah, you just launch yourself, try to get through, smash.
Yeah,
It's
I just
very
want
much
to be
like
able
an
to do that
arcade
like
game.
everywhere. Like,
But there was a second phase.
how'd you beat Gandorf? Beyblade.
Yes.
Beyblade.
Actually, there was a
Yeah, just
fishing
like-
rod
just
trick
like-
to
yeah.
beat Ganondorf.
What?
Oh, you didn't know about that?
No.
They did that in Wind
So
Waker too.
in
didn't
the
they?
final
sure.
Ganondorf fight,
Was that for Wind Waker
Twilight
as well?
Princess. What the?
There's like a cheap trick that you can do in Wind Waker to beat Ganondorf as well.
Well,
and I thought it was with the
There's a cheap trick with a sword that you could do on. People do it a lot for the speed runs, but
Right.
it's for Ocarina of Time.
Oh, the big
They
long
use
sword.
the big
Yeah.
Goron
Or the giant's
sword,
knife.
or you can use the Koraki sword, I believe, as well.
The what? The Kokiri sword?
Kokiri sword, yeah.
You can't use that as an adult.
No, but there's a way that glitches. I believe there's a way that glitches out and you can control it.
I wouldn't be surprised for the glitches, man.
Because you bypass, like for this
So
run,
this
which I
is
think is
the-
like
the
6
other
or
version.
13
See how
minutes.
this
I
is
think it's
kind of
like
like
7
arcade
minutes.
style
You
to me.
bypass.
Very much so.
I
everything
love
pretty
this.
much.
You just let him get close enough and
Talking to
smack
Grandpa.
him 3 times.
Yeah, like
Okay.
watching those
He
people
drops
do
down,
that,
you
like such
smack him upside the
specific
head a few
movements.
times,
Yeah.
It's so
and then
quick,
he
it's
pops you hard.
insane.
But it's a really
Yeah, and it's
interesting
like
fight.
they just fucking backflip into a wall and suddenly they're in Ganon's castle.
So did you hear about the way this dude?
So I don't know if you ever played
found-
Twilight Princess, but this is one of my favorite games in the series.
Jeez, Mike. No.
Spoilers.
Yeah. So have you found there was this really weird Easter egg or speedrun glitch that someone used in Twilight Princess. They found it out because he just opened up a treasure chest and his like mom called him to go do something, so he left it on. He left the game running, right?
Okay.
And he came back and he was somewhere different. And he came back like this was Grant like a good like day and a half later, and come to find out, the animation when you're holding that thing up, when the animation restarts, it moves you just slightly forward. And people are using that to glitch the hell out of the game and speedrun it.
What?
Yeah. So they'll be like, okay, it's gonna take me like 48 minutes to like clip through here to go. So they'll like stand somewhere, open up a treasure chest, hold it up, and then just clip through the back wall. And it helped. It's slow, but it helped out tremendously.
That's insane.
It was
That
really
does
cool.
sound interesting, but I don't even like glitches. I like to beat the game as is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But man, give it up to speedrunners to find some really weird shit.
I mean,
Right.
kudos to speedrunners, but honestly, if you have to glitch your way into getting a speedrun record, personally, I just...
Well, that's the whole
Nah,
category.
I
for it.
just-
Yeah,
I
they
just-
have multiple
understand that.
categories.
It's not
Yeah.
really cheating if it's actual like a.
If it's an
legal
actual
thing.
category, okay,
Yeah,
that's
I-
one
I-
thing.
I
But I'm
just use-
talking
yeah,
like,
but
just,
there
I
are
want to see the
differences.
100% completion speedruns.
Well,
Like
they
the
have
ones...
those. They
Yeah.
have those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look
there's
at-
all
what I
different
wanna see.
categories.
Look at like
for 'em.
FNAF Security Breach. For each, yeah.
I think glitchers are just hilarious.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Like they literally beat the game in 3 minutes, or no, I think it's like up to 4 minutes now. For Security Breach. It's
I know it was Ocarina of Time's record is 7 minutes
Something
total.
like that. Yeah.
Is that the one where you do like the backwards jumping a lot and you just click through things and all
Yep.
that? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
you
a
go
fun.
through
That's a
a
fun
wall.
one to
You're at
watch.
the very end of the fucking game.
Yeah.
Your fucking kid Link with the Kokiri sword going to fight Ganon.
That's
Not
pretty cool.
Ganondorf, Ganon.
That's really funny.
Yeah, seeing your tiny little Kokiri sword stuck in his face. Just
Just like the tip of it too, because he
It's
can't
like,
reach all the
sea
way.
size doesn't matter. That's what that says right there.
So update 6 minutes 49 seconds for Ocarina of Time and leaderboard. That's any percent. That's any percent anything.
Straight to the end.
6 minutes, so about 7 minutes, like I said.
100% is 3 hours 50 minutes.
Is what?
3 hours 50 minutes.
3 hours 50 minutes for 100%.
I've
Yeah.
played
So that means all
150
Glitchless.
hours of the damn game, and I haven't 100% of it.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, did you say glitchless?
There's a glitchless run. I want you to just guess how long it takes for a glitchless run.
It takes me probably about, I'd say an hour, hour and a half to do the first 3 dungeons in entirety. And that's me going at my maximum speed. But a speed run, I'm nowhere close to a speedrunner's ability. Given the other dungeons and their complexities, I would probably say that the glitchless speedrun, I would probably run, I'm going to say an hour 40.
No. 3 hours 38 minutes for a glitchless speedrun.
Really?
That's
That's
you just
that's
have
actually a lot more
a
time than I
fucking
expected for a speedrun. But
Perfect run through to catch everything as you go.
Yep.
the trickiest thing to make 100% speedrun is definitely going to be catching that giant fish twice.
Yeah.
Especially without the
Ganon-
sinking lure.
The defeat Ganon speedrun is at 16 minutes 34 seconds.
Glitchless?
No, just defeat Ganon.
Okay.
So apparently, I wonder if like any percent you don't defeat Ganon, you just glitch him out, and congratulations, you win. And I believe that's it.
Yeah.
Someone actually used a demo to beat Ocarina of Time with that 6 minute 49 second record, I believe. Was that not?
Yeah, because there's a demo in Smash Brothers Brawl.
That's what it was. Yes.
They give you 10 minutes of playing the game. It is actually the full game.
You
But
can
and
go
you can
anywhere,
beat
do
it, and they
anything.
did because they did it under the 10-minute demo time.
Yeah. That's impressive.
It's fucking-
That
That's
is
really
rather impressive.
Incredible.
and funny.
And hey, kudos to Nintendo for actually
Yeah.
including the whole game.
Like, I mean,
Yeah,
Who
kudos
would
to them
expect
at the
that to
same
happen?
time. They were like, you know, I mean, come on, guys, we've learned our lesson. And then like a week later, they're like, we didn't. We did not.
Yeah.
we, did, we failed terribly, and it is our fault entirely.
oop,
Yeah.
So, I want to start talking. There's something else I want to talk about. I think would be cool is like, what. Why you go ahead and get your stuff figured out?
keep going.
You might be out of memory.
I am.
I had to do that with mine. So, the next thing I want to talk about is what is the boss that you got stuck on throughout all Zelda games. I'll go first with mine. It was the twin dune snakes from Majora's Mask. Only because I ran out of magic and I had to beat it when I was small. And that was just... I remember I beat it on my last arrow. Like was it arrow or was it like a slingshot? I can't remember, but like...
It was arrows in Majora's Mask. They didn't have the slingshot because they got rid of it and just gave the bow and hookshot to Link as a kid.
Okay.
And they actually updated the look, the design of the grappling hook, which I actually prefer over the original personally.
Yeah, the original's kind of clunky.
But yeah, it was the arrow, and I beat with like my last arrow shot, or like my last 2 arrow shots, because it sucked. I was on track to beat it, and I ran out of magic. I'm like, great, now I'm small, because like it's these 2 giant dune snakes, right? But you have this potion that like makes you big.
Yeah.
And if you run out of magic, you shrink back down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran out of magic.
And once you do, you'll die right away. Pretty
No,
much.
no.
You
so
can't
you just shrink down to small size, and you can kill them.
It's just a lot harder.
Really crazy ass trick shots with the bow.
Okay.
So I'm here with like these giant like dune snakes just popping up in front of me, like just like popping up, you know, playing whack-a-mole in this giant dune desert. And I'm just like, crap. So I'm sitting there just like, where do I go? Yeah.
What about you, Steven? What was your annoying boss?
Both Majora's Mask bosses, the fucking bull and the fish. I hated the fish. I hated that temple.
Yes.
That was like a whole underwater temple and stuff. Wasn't it?
Water temples, with the exception of Skyward Sword, are fucking terrible. They're just a pain in the ass. I mean, they're not bad. They're just a pain in the ass.
Yeah. That temple in itself is a pain in the ass because like I remember starting it day 1. Like I would like because you have to like you have a 3-day time limit, right?
Yeah.
I would start it day 1, like try to get there as quick as I possibly can, and like I will reach the boss with like just 5 minutes left in day 3 to beat him. It's like, well, shit.
So that dungeon is actually not my least favorite of all the dungeons I played. My least favorite dungeon is probably got to be the underwater lake dungeon in Twilight Princess, because those stairs and the way they change and what you need can be so complicated, and it's so easy to overstep your bounds and go through a door you weren't supposed to go through. Now you've wasted a key, and you don't have the right equipment for what you're doing, and it can just suck.
Oh yeah.
So that one's probably gonna be my worst. The Zora dungeon in Majora's Mask is relatively easy. I can go there day 1. I can get all 20 of the fairies scattered, and get to the boss and beat the boss before the first day is over.
Well, congratulations, Mike.
See, like the thing
But
about
I played the hell out of that game.
You're so cool, Mike.
Just
Hold on.
Fairy
I do
tale.
have a question.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you though.
What?
When you got there, as soon as you restarted to day 1,
Don't fucking ask me because I can't remember.
did you not
He's like,
slow
I'm
down
gonna
time?
go ahead and still talk to you.
No, I slowed down time.
See, you remember that much at least.
Yeah. No,
And it still
love
took
that
you
game.
that long?
Yeah, because fuck that place.
That place is not that complicated, especially when it's ice arrows.
It's not complicated at all, but like I try to take it on first. Like
That's the first dungeon period you try?
well, normally, yeah.
What is the matter with you?
He's
I want to get it
punishment.
done. I want to get it done, and I want to get it over with.
Yeah.
You need to do 1 and 2 before you even attempt number 3.
He don't care. Glitches.
I don't care.
Glitches, baby.
Yeah.
You need the hero bow from Temple 1. and
No,
you
I
need to
honestly, I honestly think I did take because I don't think in Majora's Mask you can like pick which one you want to go to.
Not
I'm pretty sure
really.
you have to like.
Like you can't get over that wall without Epona, and you can't get Epona without having the license for the powder keg.
But no, I just hate that.
Not without glitches.
I just hate it because first of all it's a water temple, and I just don't. Getting the whole like leveling system.
No, you want to talk about the most annoying temple in Majora's Mask? You're missing the obvious one: Stone Temple.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That one was just time consuming.
Yeah.
The amount of times you
That
have to
one
play
was so
that fucking
confusing.
song.
I don't know if you've ever played it, Chase.
Switch mask.
So the other thing
It
I know
literally
about Majora's
Flips the
and
entire temple upside down.
the only thing I know about Majora's or Ocarina of Time is my brother and his friend played it all the time, and his friend was like really good at it. Like he could beat the games within the whole day before it turned to night and all that. I don't know if he was a speedrunner, but he beat the whole friggin' game, and I was just amazed by that as a kid. And so I think that was like my first time really being introduced to it, and then like much later on I picked up Wind Waker. I had a GameCube. I played it through, and it was actually an absolute blast. And I think my boss it's been a long time, but the boss that I had difficulty on it was the spider plant thing where it has like a seed pop out of its head, and you can actually kill it a lot quicker if you pour water on it. I didn't know that, and I went around the long way of doing it. I don't remember it's a spider though. It's like this plant thing
Wind
that's
Waker?
crawling in a cave. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about? I don't remember what it's called. I think it's a spider,
Well,
but it was.
Yeah, it's like a big plant.
It was
hanging
so
from the ceiling.
cool, and I loved all the bosses, but it was the most frustrating. And
That's
then,
some Metal Gear Solid shit.
and then you can end up like getting this water pail and filling it full of water, and the first time you knock it out of its seat head bank, I don't know what the hell you would call
Cut
it.
down all the tentacles.
Yeah, you cut down its tentacles, and then you just pour the water on it, and you basically just one-shot it right
Yep.
there.
Oh.
It just kills
Like
it.
you skip the whole fight.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so
I
that
know
we
that.
found that out like much later on after, and I was like, well, that
Yeah.
would have been really like
But like
nice.
the thing about that is that water is only fresh for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that
So
was
it's kind of
right.
like the
So you
hot
have to-
water
right.
in Majora's
So you have
Mask
to like
melt
do the whole
ice.
dungeon, loop
Yep.
back to the other tree, get the water, and then
That's they're like, look, we can give you the one shot, but you have to work for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
5 minutes, buddy.
Yeah.
5 minutes. It's like that's gross.
It's not bad though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a neat little thing.
You know what? I still say dollars to rupees. The most annoying
Were you
dungeon.
holding that this whole time?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. Dollars
Very
to
quiet.
rupees. I will guarantee you the most popular
I don't want to be in
Choice.
this video anymore.
The most popular choice is going to be the Water Temple Dungeon from Ocarina of Time. It's going to be the most hated dungeon of all time.
Yes,
Oh,
guys.
Oh, yes.
Dollars to
Oh
rubies.
my gosh.
No, for real though. Steven 3 printed these. They're cool.
I like the gold one. It's really
Yeah.
nice.
There's some Triforces
They're
too.
shiny.
It's pretty cool.
Shiny.
Oh yeah, you actually got the Triforce up on your camera.
Yeah, he does.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's part of why I had to do that, show off some of Steven's handiwork.
Yeah, man.
Why do you think I handed that to you?
No,
Just
he-
like,
No, I know you did, but it's the way you introduced it.
Dollars
Like,
to rupees.
He lies. He really wanted to introduce that joke more than anything.
Yeah.
He was like, the rupees are just a plus at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just gotta hang it up.
yeah. So, Mike, what was
That's
your,
my
what is-
job.
Mike, what is your most difficult? What was your most annoying boss in any of the Zelda series?
Most annoying boss?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or I guess one that had the most challenges for you or difficulty. I
Or you
don't
just
know.
straight up fucked up.
What's one that makes you just remember it? You know, just because.
I don't know. That one's kind of a toss-up between a couple different ones. The Phantom Ganon and the Legend of Four Swords was a little difficult because you couldn't see him at first, and suddenly something's just launching at you out of nowhere. You have no idea what color you need to use to hit him, so it can get really confusing really easily.
I
That-
became a fucking pro at that when I was a kid.
Oh, did you?
I played that game so goddamn much. I was switching between the 4 colors like a motherfucker. I was like, it's red.
No, it's kind of a
I'd probably
tie
speed
between
run that.
that one and... Do you remember the Sky Temple for Twilight Princess? The dragon
Yeah.
at the end? I hated that fight so much because 90% of it is in the air, and you're just twin grapple hooking between these floating plants,
Spider-Man.
Oh, that's
Spider-Man.
and then you're trying to get behind him while he's trying to breathe fire on you. Just a hook shot onto him to try and kill him. That fight is so annoying. I think one of my most fun fights was actually from Twilight Princess, the Time Temple. With the giant spider with the eyeball on his back. You had to use the wand to control the giant statues to smash it. I love
was
that.
cool. I like
That was one of my favorite dungeons.
So before we go to the next theory, which is the Tetraforce, Steven, Chase, you're gonna get a kick out of this. You're gonna think I'm stupid. But Mike really wants you to tell me the story because when we were doing a test stream, I told him the story. It's about the time that I rage quit Ocarina of Time for 2 months. I rage quit 3 times. 2 of them were because I didn't save for hours on end. The first one, though, this was when Ocarina first came out, and this is the first, like, 3D game I played, right? Just got the Nintendo 64. I was in, 4th, 5th grade, I want to say. 5th grade. And you remember the first dungeon, right?
Yeah.
So, you know how, like, after you...
The Deku Tree?
Yeah. So you climb up to the top, and you, like, basically land on the giant, like, the giant spider web, and then you go down the
I know where
bottom
this
floor.
is going, and I've been there.
Are you sure?
So, I cleared everything in that bottom room. Got the skull, the Skullta.
Never mind.
Or the
Skulltula.
The Skulltula. And there's a locked door. There's webs on the door. I was like, okay. I just need to burn that door. That's fine. There's a torch right here. Grab it. Jump over across. Psh, fuck. Light it again. Jump across. Psh. What the fuck? I tried so many combinations to jump across that little water moat to get to the other side, and I could not. I tried for like literally 2 to 3 hours trying to figure out where I need to jump across. I was like, if I just get a running start and hit it at like this precise 35-degree angle, I can jump with the speed of like 2 horses and just make it. It's fine. Whatever. No.
Yeah.
I will make it on the other ledge and then just because I was like a frame behind. I was like, okay, where the hell? Like, this first dungeon cannot be this hard, and I just quit.
Yeah.
I quit for 2 months, and then I was at the playground, and my
someone
friend
told you how to do it.
was like, "Oh yeah, you just do this." I was like, "How the fuck do you do it?" He's like, "You literally take the fire from the torch and put it up against the spark." I was like, "How? I can't jump across." He's like, "You don't have to jump across." I was like, "What do you mean?" It's like towards the back. There's literally a place that's raised up in the water where you're not gonna get put out. It's like, you're kidding me. You're kidding. It's not that easy. You're kidding me.
You're done.
I get home, boot it up, first try.
I love that story.
Ever since
Yeah.
then, it was smooth sailing, except for a couple times where I like spent like 3 dungeons later, and then I forgot to save, and then I get booted back to like dungeon number 2. Yeah.
I actually had the same experience when I was a kid.
Yes.
My brothers had the collection, and I was playing it for the first time, and I was like, yeah, no, I can't make it with this fire. I give up.
Yep.
Haven't played it since.
Yep. It was hard. Like, it wasn't hard. It just wasn't.
Dude,
made-
I was 5 years old
wasn't
when I
made
first played that
prominent.
game. I figured it out in like 2
We
minutes.
had different brains, right?
Yeah, it just wasn't prominent enough. Because like, I swear to God, I tried that like 20 times.
Yeah, I
Wow.
peaked early. I really did.
You peaked. What? You peaked. But what about you? You peaked.
Really smart as a kid, dumb as fucking as an adult.
I like how Nolan was like, no. And we were just all like,
Yep. We'll
Fuck
agree with
you
Mike.
guys.
We'll
I'm
agree
friends
with
with you.
are.
I believe in this manor.
So now, Mike, we heard about your theory, and I don't have a theory. My theory is just like the release window for fucking Breath of the Wild 2.
We'll get into that.
We will. But Steven, your theory, I'm pretty sure, involved the Tetraforce. So let's hear that out.
Yeah. So the Tetraforce is the 4th piece of the Triforce that is theorized to exist.
Okay. So
And
missing piece in the middle.
it's actually
Yes.
may or may not be disproving what I was talking about earlier. But, so there's 3 pieces of the Triforce, right? But there's a little hole in the middle of the Triforce
Yep.
where another triangle would fit.
Yes.
Create one big triangle. That
Yes.
is the Tetraforce. The 4th piece that could possibly be Hylia's piece of the Triforce.
Ooh. Okay.
So we have Goddess of Creation, Goddess of Nature, Goddess of Order. And then we have the Goddess just over the people.
Okay. Now, if I remember right, I've heard this theory before, and I want to say that there was some extra stuff thrown in there because, granted, I haven't played the game, but if I remember right, isn't there a place called Lowrul, that's like the opposite,
Yes.
and doesn't have an upside down Triforce or an upside down
It does have an upside down Triforce.
So that would
well, they
fit.
did until they destroyed it.
So that would fit in that little space then, right?
Possibly, but then that gives us what, an Octoforce?
Well, I
because
mean,
there
like-
would be
like-
another hole in the middle.
You're saying
Yeah.
since it's because it's upside down and it's technically the whole thing is a upside down triangle, it would fit.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then you still have the hole
Then you
in
still have
that
the hole in that one.
Triforce.
Yes.
It's like, who the fuck is that?
It's Triforce.
So there
It's the
is
Rick and Morty.
there is an allude to the Tetraforce and Majora's Mask. Actually, if you pay attention, when you give all the masks to the kids that wore the boss masks, and Majora's Mask gives you the Fierce Deity mask, when you put it on for the first time, look at the sash that's hanging off of his belt, and you will see that lone little triangle upside down, just like what's missing in the Triforce. That's the only allude, other than Tetra herself in the Wind Waker, that gives anything to the Tetraforce.
Yeah.
That I believe is where it came
So-
from.
You know, deity.
It's the Fierce
God.
Deity has a belt. I'm looking at it right now. Has a belt that has an upside down triangle.
Exactly. It was one of the first things I noticed about his entire outfit. I loved it. I wanted to dress up like him for Halloween the year I played that game. That'd have been an amazing
Yeah, no,
costume.
it's not a huge. It was a big theory for a while, like in the early times of when Zelda
like
theory
early
became a
2000s.
thing. Yeah, like people were like, "Does the Tetraforce exist? Is that a thing? There's a hole I need to fill."
Yeah.
To my knowledge, Nintendo hasn't addressed the Tetraforce in any way, shape, or form.
I feel like
there's-
they made a comment about it once, like shortly after it became a big thing, but
Yeah, I think
Talk about it.
Nintendo has officially disproven
Yeah.
the Tetraforce, well, the old theories, but it's really weird because
They're like just waiting. They're like, don't worry, it's coming.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
now like I said, now that they're making Hylia a bigger thing.
Yeah.
But if you look at the
They're
Hylian
gonna give her
shield
an upgrade.
back in like Ocarina of Time, it's really weird because you have the Triforce, but you have the lone
Yes.
small triangle at the bottom.
Yes.
Yes, of the
There's
Hyrulean
tiny
shield.
little tidbits throughout the games that kind of hint toward there might be a one. It could just be wild speculation,
Right.
but
They're just
I would be very excited if they did.
they're werewolfing at this point.
Yeah. And like, you know, knowing
This whole time
Hylia,
we thought Ganondorf was evil, but since all these triangles face right side up, the one that's upside down is the true evil. And he's like, I've been trying to help you guys this whole time, and you've been rude to me, and now you deserve every bit of it.
yeah.
That's why I feel really bad for Ganondorf, because like Ganondorf as a person isn't bad. It's just the fact that he inherited the evil into malice.
Yeah.
It's really kind of heartbreaking. a little
I'm
bit.
still like, I know you guys have talked about like this game kind of like in a sense it repeats its story as far as Link will always fulfill his role, Zelda will hers, and Ganon will fulfill his.
Yeah. and
I've
they
always
have
wanted to see. I've always wanted to still see it to this day, where one game, I don't care if it's canon or not, but one game where Ganon's actually the good guy, and you play as Ganon, and you have to go through, or you know, Ganon has to become the bad guy,
Yeah.
or something like that, and then you know have Link or Zelda being evil, or one's just you know using the other, things like that. Because I think that'd be kind of fun, just
Yeah.
to see from a
To-
different perspective.
Yeah.
I kind of want.
for a little while, that was a theory about like Breath of the Wild 2 is like, is Ganon possibly going to be a good guy?
See, I kind of want that because I mean,
I
not
would
maybe a
love it.
good guy, but kind of like an anti-hero because
Yeah.
I mean, okay, we don't know about what Ganon that is, or if that is Ganondorf trapped on the bottom.
That could
I
very
like-
well
I
be
can-
Demise.
I can
Yeah.
only assume it's Ganon.
I think it's Ganon with malice coming off of him. Because, fun fact, Demise, if I remember right, in Japan, Demise is actually malice as well. Like the power he controls is his malice.
I believe so. Yes.
So I think that's
Yeah.
kinda cool.
No, like the purple stuff. That's
Yeah.
Malice.
Yeah. So it's weird that something from all the way back then is now very prevalent.
Well, I mean, it's coming full circle is what it's doing.
Yeah, and I'm happy with that. But I want to see, because like if that person is stuck in like a pseudo like fugue state underneath, like if that person on the bottom is basically in a coma, like they can still hear and see. And if I remember right, that person's been like darkness hasn't came back for like 2,000 years before
10,000.
like
It
10,000
was 10,000 years, yeah.
So, that entity... Here's my theory. If darkness hasn't come back in 10,000 years, that means darkness is still around present day. But we haven't heard where it is. I think that is Ganondorf at the bottom. He's just been sealed in like a coma-like state and kept alive for 10,000 years. If so, that would make like Hyrule... they could be like, oh, we did this for the greater good, but they literally sealed a person for 10,000 years living underneath the tower. Like, that's fucked up.
I mean, that's no worse than what they did in Twilight Princess. Honestly, the sages literally took a sword, the sacred sword that wasn't the fucking Master Sword for some stupid reason, and sealed him inside the Twilight dimension.
Well, no, they were going to kill him. They used it to kill him, but it's funny because at that point in time, that's when his Triforce awakened, when he got stabbed. Because he didn't have it beforehand. Because when he got stabbed and then he's like hanging and you saw awaken, that's when they're like, oh shit, we need to seal him in the
and they
Twilight
specifically
dimension.
said like as if a prank from the gods.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
And then he killed one of the sages, and the other 5 sealed him in the Twilight dimension.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that it's no worse
Like,
sealing them down there like that for 10,000 years is no worse than what they did then, because you have to think, how long was Ganon actually in the Twilight realm? Because when we saw him, he wasn't the man that we saw the sages throw in there. We saw him only the way that Zant saw him, as a huge, gigantic entity, almost like a massive cloud. And that's exactly how you see Calamity Ganon in Breath of the Wild. It's no different.
Yeah. No, I think Twilight Princess is pretty shortly, like maybe a few generations after Ocarina of Time, because the layout of Hyrule is still pretty
It's pretty much the
similar.
same.
Yeah, you've still got...
A little more than 100 years after Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's
like-
more
'cause, like,
provinces
Kakariko
added. They
Village
still
is
had
there, but
Hyrule
it's kind
Lake
of
and everything, but they had other provinces after that, or surrounding Hyrule Lake and everything.
But being trapped in that dimension is better than being... Because, like, you're at that point, you're basically just trapped in hell. Like, okay, that's cool. He can do whatever the fuck he wants to there.
I wouldn't really call that hell so much as I would call it another version of the Shadow World, the Mirror Dimension.
Yeah, but like he can move
Almost
around there.
essentially, yeah.
Like he can move around there. He can do what he wants to, whatever he wants to in there. Versus for 10,000 years just being like this. Guys, I'm bored.
I mean, that's basically what they've always done to him. It's either trap him in the Triforce, put him under some kind of seal.
Yeah.
It's just been their thing.
Even when they trapped him in the Sacred
They
Realm
literally
in
use
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Same thing.
But he can move around though. Like he has full body. Like this dude is just stuck in his own mind for 10,000 years down there. That's the bad part. Is he can't do what he wants to like.
Well, and that was like what he did in Breath of the Wild. He was just like, I'm fucking fed up with this.
Yeah.
Alright, fuck you guys. You get big purple beastie pig boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like I want to see the wrath of Ganondorf.
Yeah, no. I want to see him become a character again.
Like in Wind Waker.
Exactly.
We had a not evil Ganondorf. Like he wasn't evil in Wind Waker. He was just tired.
Yeah.
He was tired.
Fighting for his people.
Yeah. He was fighting for his people, and he was literally misunderstood.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to like ruin anyone's life. He just like, hey man, I just want to get my wish and just have the old Hyrule returned. That's it. I just want old Hyrule to rise up from what it used to like, from what it is now, and be what it used to be. He didn't want anything like evil intent. He didn't want to like, oh, I want to rule the world. He just was like, I want my old
I
home
just
back.
want justice for my people.
Yeah, like I just want justice for my people. My old home.
And the gods were like, "That's stupid."
Yeah.
No.
And then Link literally just plunges a sword straight through his skull.
And he's
turns him to stone.
Fuck you! You stole my girlfriend.
Yeah.
took her. Why?
I stab you.
I stab you.
Like that was the best version of Ganondorf I think we've gotten.
Absolutely.
Because he was actually a character.
He's more
not just,
melancholy kind of.
Yeah. He
No,
was this guy
I'd like to
forced
see a
on people.
game like that though, where like regardless if he really is the bad guy or you're playing a different version of it where he's actually not the bad guy, I think that'd be really fun. Like
Either
kind
way.
of switch it up a little bit, but still keep to their roles, but maybe just be like, well,
Didn't the second Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity have a part where you could play as Ganondorf for a small bit?
Yes, you can get Calamity Ganon as a playable character.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So, I mean, in a way, we already have, and then of course Smash Bros. We have ways to play as Ganondorf
no,
in
but
games,
but you don't have any story.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
it's not canon.
I'll give you that.
all Age of
Actually,
Calamity.
I believe there was a
Zero
Nintendo
story
official
elements.
statement that showed that Age of Calamity was going to be canon,
It's multiverse though.
which makes all versions of Zelda canon.
Don't make one Gamelon
Huh?
canon. don't make Wand of Gamelon
Oh yeah, those
canon.
are like the computer game, right?
Yeah,
like with the
the
weird
CDI
mouse and all that.
game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Age
Shout
of
out to
Calamity-
Game Grumps for playing those. I never knew what those were until I watched it,
Brave
and
Souls.
oh my
Brave
god, it is
Souls.
hilarious. It's so bad. It's so bad.
So Age of Calamity is not canon to our current timeline, but does open up the possibility of overarching Zelda timelines.
Yes.
As to what Hyrule Warriors does, because it also does the same thing.
I didn't know Hyrule Warriors originally got into the multiverse.
Yeah, because you
Yep.
had like links from different.
Yeah, no,
games.
at
you
the
also
very-
had She-Link too.
Spoiler warning.
Yes.
At the end of Age of Calamity, none of the champions actually die in the end.
Yeah.
Because their future descendants, they come back to the past in some fucky way because the little guardian baby egg
I
boy.
watched the cutscenes.
Yeah. And they save them right before they get killed by the calamities.
Okay, well, I mean,
They
there's...
pull.
So they completely just retconned it.
Yeah, they pull a spoiler warning. No Way Home bullshit, and save them right before.
Hey,
they
not
just
bullshit. Good shit.
I need to watch that.
Die. Yeah,
Good shit.
it's.
I haven't seen No Way Home either.
I heard it was on HBO now.
No,
Is that right?
no,
Or it
no.
was?
No Way Home will not be it. No, I think No Way
Is
Home.
it coming to
was-
Dis Plus?
No,
The
because
Sony thing.
Sony still has access to
Oh,
it, so
that's
it's gonna be on Sony.
right.
But it's still relevant to the Disney universe side of
Oh,
it too. So
yeah,
that's
so-
always a
so-
fun crossover.
Yeah, no, I mean, you
I
still
will
got
honestly
Doctor
say it's
Strange.
better than Endgame only because like the dopamine rush that you get for the build up.
Alright, so I think it's time to take a little quiz. How about you boys?
Yes, let's go
Do
to
it.
our.
So Chase, since you are not one of the resident Zelda experts, I'm going to
Very
have you
true.
read off the questions.
All right, I
Alright.
will do that.
So before we do this, that was the end. We're 49 minutes into this right now.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and we'll take a break. We'll say that's the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
And then we'll go ahead and upload another episode that is quiz time. Because
Okay, I'm gonna...
Quizzing.
We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Goodbye.
goodbye.
See you guys.